was waiting on you. I was trying to let you go first. What's up, everybody? How are you? The shack has changed a little bit. So for those of y'all that are scouting behind me going, something looks different. Yes, a lot of stuff in here looks different. I have moved things around and relocated things, and it's just my whole world's been up in the air lately and just getting put back together out here. So if you notice it, yeah, it's changed a bit. So how about you, Steve? Your area seems to have changed a bit as well.
I was to say I had a car sitting in here Monday. Didn't have enough space or room to get both of them in there, but no, we had some pretty nasty storms roll through here Monday, and saw when Carla got home from work, I'm like, hey, we're gonna like move half the stuff in my shop and get your car in there, because they were talking like 2-inch hail, and it hit like all around us. But luckily, right where I'm at, we got some rain, but we didn't get, I don't even think we had pea-size hail or anything. But some of my friends and coworkers just, 10, 15 miles to the northwest and east of here, all were dealing with like baseball size hail, a lot of damage. So I'm thankful we moved the car in. I'm glad it didn't wreck our stuff. But yeah, it was kind of a fun start to the week, and I've been trying to reassemble it. But I also been on the road Wednesday and up to the Fargo Moorhead area.
Yeah.
And I had to go up there for work. And it was the roller coaster of spring, of course. I think it was like mid 70s Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday I woke up and it's below freezing again and windy. So kind of a long, boring drive back home, and then also really tired. I don't know, just a couple long days, meetings, sleeping in they put me on a ground floor hotel room, but it was right next to one of the exit doors, the side doors that don't open and close very nice. They kind of slam shut.
Slam all night.
So
did you not take your motel earbuds with you?
Well, I have a night mask that has headphones in them. Some Bluetooth ones, so that kind of helps. But yeah, it was just like it'd be peaceful, and all of a sudden, bam! I'm like, okay, I'm up.
So, yeah. When we used to go out of town working on those storms, especially, and you're staying in basically, like I would work night shift, and so I was sleeping during the day, and you're inside like at a headquarters for the utility companies, to where they got those backup buzzers all day long and all that. Yeah, you learn that they do actually make earplugs for sleeping, and I had a pack of them I kept in my box, and so I've always had those in my bathroom box or whatever to use. And those things are nice when you go places like that, because I'm here where I'm at, it's quiet at night. If you hear something, like this thing got bad, so I have a hard time sleeping, especially like in that situation where I'm in the middle of basically a utility construction area, sleeping usually in a camper or one of those 18-wheeler bunk trailers. And they're not soundproofed real good. So yeah, I didn't I've been reassembling, moving some things around in here, trying to, like I've mentioned earlier before, I do want to do a new layout in here, just so that maybe move some wood around a little bit.
Well, yeah. No, there is. Well, I need to get my shop reassembled, because there are a couple of projects that I was planning to use some of that for. But yeah, I need to move some of that around, move some machines around, so that they're just a little more efficient workflow, maybe more of a dedicated space to do the testing stuff, but leave some of the other machines up and accessible for actual production work and such. So
yeah, I've been trying to thin the herd around here myself.
This gave me a little bit of a jump on that, moving some of the things anyway. But yeah, I kind of feel like I need to ditch one big, like, I have these, I build these carts that, laser can sit on, that I can have material and such, and they're on casters, so I can move them around. I feel like I have one too many. So,
do you feel like you're just playing chess with yourself some days? It's like, move this piece over here and this piece over here.
I'd probably go with checkers, but
yeah.
because there's not enough thought put into it. It's just like, okay, move this over here. Stack this here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's like, everybody was getting on to me the other day about, do you use your CNC for anything other than a table? I'm like, I use it for a table and other things. Just like right now, it's a table. That's where all of my stuff I'm making with the Eufy are being set right now. Because if I leave it here, the cats like to knock it off the table. So, yeah, I'm using it for a table currently. If a job comes in, I'll just have to relocate everything.
But I did get my Creality Falcon A1 Pro, that little 20-watt machine. Got that video out there. Had it ready to go. I think I launched it Wednesday. So, got that one kind of done out of the way. Nice little machine. Works. I think it's if you need a gantry style machine for like a on-site engraving one, it would definitely be a candidate. It kind of has everything contained. It's got the safety acrylic top and front. It's got a little fan that you could hook up a hose and route the smoke out, or hook it up to an air purifier. And so from that vein, or for someone just getting started, and there was a comment on the video, like, well, first off, they put one too many zeros on it. They said $9,000 for a 20-watt laser is a little too much. I said, I would agree that $9,000 for a 20-watt diode, it would be too much, but $900 for it, with including the honeycomb at that point. It's not the cheapest 20-watt, but to get cheaper, now you're going back to the open frame.
I paid $1,200 for my D1 20-watt back a while ago.
And there's definitely more expensive ones, and there are cheaper ones, but the cheaper ones are open frame. There's no ventilation. There's no camera. You're still going to be adding all that stuff. And so, and there's software,
all the air assist and everything. It adds up.
Yeah. So I think it's a decent candidate for that at the price point, the size, and how it functioned. Their software, they got some free software that works pretty well with it as well. So you don't even have to invest in Lightburn, although it works with Lightburn, except for the one caveat is the camera uses an IP address to connect to it. And so Lightburn doesn't support that yet, but in release candidate 2.1, they will. And that's actually in beta. You can test it. So Lightburn's been testing the A1 Pro, and Creality's been testing the latest revision of Lightburn. So that was my one issue with it, other than the honeycomb just sitting a little low.
Yeah. Bill Hunter says he's losing the battle with, I don't need a 3D printer. Will a P2S not leave me wanting to upgrade in 4 months? Well, I'll put it to you this way. I haven't had my P2S but a couple of weeks, and they just dropped that they released that new replacement for the X1 Carbon, and it's basically a P2S with a few added things. I'm not going to say that it's an upgraded P2S, but I mean, it's kind of the way they're pushing it. But it's literally only $100 more than the P2S. From what I can tell, the only real benefit would be if I wanted to use like support material and not have to do all the changeovers.
Because it's got the dual heads.
Yeah, but the way that they're talking and the way that it flips out and moves up and down or whatever, from what I've been seeing in the videos, they're saying that even Bamboo says that second head is not going to be, it's not exact. So they would like maybe using it for like some of the support materials that they make or whatever. So I don't know how. I really kind of wish I'd have known about it beforehand, but at the same time, the one I've got is doing so good. I really don't like. I've been running this A1 for how long has it been? A year, almost 2 years, about 2 years maybe. And it's still doing great. Now, I had some issues with it the other day. That's why it's out here. But it was right after a firmware update, and I'm not sure that something didn't get like janked up in the firmware update. So I brought it out here, serviced it, cleaned it, lubed it, refreshed the firmware on it and everything, and it's been running like a champ ever since. So,
yeah, no, I think the P2S. I mean, unless you're really looking at getting into those more advanced filaments, or you're doing really tall things, maybe, still the A1.
Yeah, this one does great. It's like I said, ABS and some of the other ASA and stuff like that. This is not what you need, but for PETG and PLA, I've had good luck with it. Really good luck with it.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think the P2S has an advantage out here is it's just going to be a little easier for me to maintain the filaments and keep them dry and keep the dust off of it because it's enclosed. So I like the filament setup on the other one. I dried everything the first few days that I set it up, and I haven't done anything as far as drying or anything. I've put some new filament in there, swapped out a couple of rolls, and it's still staying around 8 and 10% humidity inside there. And I'm having to do little to no maintenance so far. So I'm really pleased with how well it's keeping the filament dry and everything. Because that was the one thing that I had to make sure of with the A1 was that periodically I would take my filament and dry it a little bit and put it back out. So.
Sure. Oh, well, before we get too buried in these, Willin M69 says, guys, I want to start engraving on some of my pew-pews. Which laser will work? All I have right now is a blue light diode. So that you're really going to want to be in the like the fiber IR wavelengths. And if you're doing it for decorative, you don't necessarily need the power, but if you're doing it for like deep engraving, that's where you're going to want more power to throw at it to get the depth right. So if you're looking at like I said, if you're looking at marking, anything like a 20 watt would be great. From the X-Tool F1 Ultra to the Com Marker B4, B6 series. Monport's got some lower end fibers, so does Omtac. But yeah, if you want the deep one, you're going to be wanting to look at the higher power ones. Because metal takes that. Yeah, you're not going to get anything out of a diode laser. You're not going to get anything out of CO2 other than removing coatings, and maybe some stainless steel action. If you want to actually get into the metals, you got to get in that fiber wavelength.
Yeah, if you're going to be removing materials, you need to go with a 60. And if you're really wanting to be seriously removing materials, you probably want to go ahead and chunk it on up to 100. Because the 60 will do it, but it's still kind of slow if you're planning on doing a lot of it. Now, if you're just piddling, then you don't really care. But if you're trying to crank it out and get them done quick, 100 watt is what I hear everybody saying. That's kind of their go-to. The ones that do, like adding compensation slots to slides and stuff like that. Those guys are, 100 watt all day. I don't do that kind of stuff. I had a guy hit me up yesterday at an event we went to, wanting me to do some work on one. But to me, the risk to reward ratio is tilted the wrong way. Because if you screw up on something like that, it's not a, dollar blank from Amazon or $15 blank from, Johnson Plastics or whatever. It's several $100s if you screw it up. So, and he wanted to do an image on one, and I'm like, no. I was like, if you wanted text, just straight up text, and it was an aluminum or stainless steel, all day long. But an image on an unknown material that costs several $100s to replace, no thanks. It's because no amount of money that they're going to be willing to pay is going to make me feel good about that. So I avoid stuff like that. If there's too much of a risk involved, the profit doesn't give me enough profit to offset that risk, I don't do it.
Right. Along a similar vein, TJ Michael is asking, would the longer duo be a good buy for a starter Galvo, or would something else be better? I have around $2,000 to spend. I don't have any experience with that one.
I had the longer, what was that first one they came out with? And it wasn't terrible, but if if you're just wanting to do like, wood and cork and the things that you would typically do with a blue laser or, a 2-watt IR, it's fine. But if you're planning on doing any kind of real like big metal, then you're gonna have to step up out of the range. But the one that I had, what was it? It was the very first longer. It's not the Duo. It was they called it something else, but it wasn't terrible. The F2 is like right now is my favorite portable, small, tiny machine. And the F2 Ultra, of course, UV is that one has been doing the 90% of my Galvo jobs has been being done on the UV. And I've used the F1 on a couple of them just because it was easy and quick.
Yeah, I was just.
There you go, Radu. So he's got a Duo and all in the box. He needs to sell. So y'all get together. News fan says, off-topic question: do you guys use WordPress? If so, looking for suggestions on theme and builder. I have not used WordPress in a long time. Long ago, I had a website that used WordPress, but I use GoDaddy now, and it does not use WordPress.
It's an okay platform. It's still very popular. You definitely want to, if you go down the WordPress route, make sure the first thing you do is add some, you want to change the login pages and such, because those are so well known that you will get so many hits of people trying to log into your site just by knowing what the default URL is for logging into it. So you definitely want to spend some time and possibly get some paid plugins for firewall and active, because it is one of the most popular CMSs out there for websites, and therefore it's very popular to attack. But I would stick with fairly simple themes and look at more of the plugins to add to change for your stuff. That works a little bit better than some of the themes get a bit heavy. They get a little resource intensive, and then they don't load very well without paying for more advanced hosting, as well as some struggling on certain browsers. So I honestly recommend some of the default ones. They usually come out with like a 20. I'm sure they have a 2026 one right now. It's fairly lightweight, and then use some of the not the themes, but the plugins and such to make it do what you want. You can run a e-commerce site off there without a whole lot of headache, but also think about the things you got to do with that, of adding SSL, integrating with some tax services. And so depending on what you're wanting to use it for, if you're looking at e-commerce, you may just want to steer more towards, Shopify and some of those others that are going to handle some of that back end security and tax collecting and all that stuff for you. So, but it's still a good CMS. If you just need a basic, contact site, maybe some links, maybe a portfolio kind of thing, and you're not, and you have a little bit of experience with securing WordPress, then it's a good way to go. But just be mindful that it is heavily attacked.
Yep. I saw where somebody earlier, I can't find the comment for nothing. Somebody was saying, welcome aboard the Eufy, thing or whatever. But there it is. Robbie was saying it. Said, glad to see you finally got included on the Eufy bandwagon. Yeah, I don't know what happened the first go around. Was it a blessing? Was it a curse? I don't know. But they did reach out to me finally. Like I said, I don't solicit, so I was just kind of sitting over here in my corner, just like, okay, if they want me to have it, they'll send it to me. But they finally reached out, and I do have it. But guys, I'm a total noob at this. I've never had a UV printer, and I didn't think I was going to get one, so I haven't really been studying up on it, learning it, and all that. And luckily, I do have a phone a friend that I can call that's had one for about a year, and be like, hey, is this normal, or what do I need to do to stop this? And so I'm having to learn it before I get to go into in-depth in what it can do. But so far, the things that I have created with it, it's really, really cool. I know there's a lot of folks talking about the cost of the inks and all of this. And And that is a concern, but just like with anything, my goal is to try to figure out what works for me. And if I can't price it good enough to make money with, the ink the way it is, then maybe I need to find projects that use less ink. So that's kind of where I'm going right now, is I'm trying to stick with flat printing to stretch the ink as far as I can, because even just flat printing is something that nobody around here really does. I went to an event yesterday, and I will tell you this: if you're in Chilton County around where I'm at, hats are crowded right now. There was, I know my buddy Brent, he may be watching right now. He was there, and he had a really awesome setup. He probably had, well, he did have the best setup there for hats, but there were 4 tents that were selling laser sublimated hats. And now Brent was the man, because he was pressing them there. Like he had the hats, he had the patches, and you could pick your combo, and he would press it for you right there. The other folks, they had pre-made hats. So Brent was owning it, but hats was very, very popular, and there was really only like one booth that had laser stuff, and the one that did have laser stuff, it was just your generic tumblers and cutting boards. So I've got a couple of ideas of what I'm going to be doing going into the Peach Jam here in a month or two, and it's going to incorporate lasers and the UFI together, because I think combining the tools is kind of where you kind of get a head up, because a lot of people either have one tool or the other. They don't have both. So
yeah,
that's where I'm headed right now. It's trying to figure out how it works in my business to make money. Because if I'm not making money, it's, the inks are not going to be getting purchased if I can't make my money back.
Well, and I mean, so Eufy's, they've completed their production of all the pre-order and the Kickstarter ones, and so they've been trying to spin up availability and such, and try to make a new push on some of that stuff. And so yeah, they're reaching out to new content creators like Clack. They're also circling back with some of us, and so you may have seen a number of videos starting to come out that are like, hey, Eufy E1 UV printer a year later, here are my thoughts, this, that, and the other thing. And they've asked for some of those. Here's the thing though. I mean, if you're looking for business advice with the Eufy E1, it even after having it for as long as I have, the problem has been I can't, up until now, and even now they're still kind of getting caught up. I really didn't push using the UV printer to customers because I didn't know that the ink would be available during this kind of this fulfillment period. And so if you're looking into this and you're watching some of those videos, just take it with a grain of salt that if they're giving you advice on things you can do, great. But if they're going to say, hey, I've been using this and I've been pumping out all these materials, I've been selling thousands of dollars worth of stuff, and maybe take that with a grain of salt, because while they've tried to keep ink in our hands, it hasn't been there's been a lot of the beta testers and content creators have also been like, hey, we're kind of low on ink and I'm a little worried about my printer and the head and all this stuff. So that's not to shy away from it. Just realize the marketing side of some of it as well. David and I, try to be really honest on that and say, hey, I'm not here to tell you how to make $1,000 or $10,000 with this. I'm gonna try to tell you the ins and outs, the pluses and the minuses of using this, so you can make a better informed decision of it. Now, all that being said, I think Clack's right. Being able to combine the two. I was trying to see if I had it out here, but speaking of hats specifically, I've done some playing around with leatherette and printing on it. And it's a decent way to get like a multicolor, but more of a flat. I know there's like the multi-level acrylics and such out there. But if you want more of that leather look with multicolor, it is a possibility. And if you had a gantry style laser that you could cut the blanks with you, and the Eufy, out of all of the smaller ones like Longer, X-Tool, Omtech and such, I feel like the Eufy is probably the most compact that I've been able to, like, we've seen the prototype for the X-Tools. We've seen kind of the images and some of the stuff from the Longer and others. They're bigger. I don't know how portable they are. Now, all of these, if you try to take them portable, are going to have their own issues and concerns. But I think the Eufy is one that would be more plausible to take to an event, to print at the event, to press a hat or customize something else. And that's where I think one of its biggest upsells, if you're looking at some of these in product customization and on site, that's where I think, from what I've seen so far of the others, it's probably more portable. So anyway, great to see that you have yours. And hopefully we'll see mine spitting out some more stuff too, now that I can get some more ink.
Yeah, it's it is different, but I'm trying not to be, because a lot of these guys are doing the videos where they're showing you the raised stuff, the raised things. That's cool. That's great. If you can get, I mean, but realistically speaking, is somebody going to pay you more for something that's raised 2 millimeters than they would if it was only raised a 0.5 millimeter? You know what I mean? Is it, are you going to be able to recoup that added expense that you're dumping into it? And so instead of just showing you guys like things that are just insanely deep and engraved, it looked like it was done with a CNC, that realistically, you're probably not going to be able to turn a profit on multiples of them. I want to be able to come up with something that you can do. You can use this machine to do these and make money with it. You know, depending on how much you charge, depending on how well your marketing is going to depend on how much you can charge. Because people ask me all the time, "Hey, how do you do your pricing?" I can get away with different pricing than say Klein can or my buddy Billy can. I can price differently because people have heard of me in the community, and when they call me and ask me if I want to do a job, they already in their head want me to do the job. So it's a lot of it is your marketing. It's like you said a while ago. If you can market good enough, you can make more profit than if you can't market. Like, you can be the best maker out there. If you can't sell a product, your profit's not going to be the same. And that's what the hard part is people's like, "Hey, how do I start a business?" And, because I see it all the time, make $10,000 with your laser. There needs to be like a parenthesis that says, if you have the right personality, training, tools, and experiences, because all those things are required.
Well, and some of those are by, like you say, established companies.
Yes.
That they kind of have a built-in customer base looking for them, so yeah. But
Santa says enclosed trailer experiences determined yesterday that it was time to find one, probably a 5x8 or a 6x12. Santa, I bit that bullet like the first year I was doing it. This is the trailer that I have, and it's a big boy. This is like a 6. I think it's a 6 wide, 12 or 14, maybe a 14 long, but it's got the 6'3" or 6'4" ceilings, because if not, I'll crack my skull. And they sell them shorter, but like I said, and if you're vertically, less, not as tall, you could probably get away with it. But I had to get this one so that I didn't crack my head going in and out of the door and end up unconscious laying on the ramp. But mine has the ramp that lowers down and you can roll things in and out. I bought it, like I said, about a year after I first started doing events and so forth. And it was definitely a big deal, because when I first started doing events, I would have to get up and start getting dressed and everything 2 or 3 hours in advance of the event, because I was having to put everything in the back of my truck, in the back seat of my truck, in the back floorboard of my truck. And then I would have to put it on a lawn trailer and pull it to the event. If it started raining, my stuff got wet, and it was a big mess, because especially at events, if it started raining, I was running around with tarps and bungee cords trying to cover everything up. So I wound up buying this, and it's been great for 2 reasons. And one of the reasons you probably hadn't thought about, not only do it cut down on my time getting ready to go to an event and coming back from an event, but it makes it a lot easier for me to prepare for events, because I just all of my stuff that I need to operate is in that trailer. I don't take it out of that trailer. It stays in that trailer. And that way, when I leave here, I know exactly what's in there, where everything is, and it's set up and ready to go. And the convenience of that, and being able to maybe get everything ready like a week in advance. Because what I'll do is I'll do a dress rehearsal out here in the driveway and just make sure I can set everything up and make sure everything's there in advance. And then when I get to the event, I've just had everything set up like a week ago, so I know exactly what's in there. And when I do that dress rehearsal, that's when I re-up my blanks and make sure of how I'm going to configure things or whatever. But it's really nice. It is cool because you can take all kinds of stuff. If I ever start doing a lot of events, I want to make me like a food truck type thing, to where I have a window and I have a 3D printer, a UV printer, and lasers and all that inside, it air conditioned. And I just like serve people through the window. If I ever get to where I'm doing that many events, but I've gotten to where I don't do as many because I have jobs here in the shop and I don't have to go out there looking for them as much. But in the early days, that's how I got my name out there. Was I'd go set up at every little Humane Society fundraiser, church fundraiser, business open house, whatever it was. I would go set up at it, hand out cards, and sell little knickknack things. And that's how I got to where people are actually calling me and finding me on Google. I've had customers in the past week driving from 35, 40 miles away to bring me jobs because they couldn't find anybody closer, and I was the first one that popped up on Google. So it's been a long time, but it's finally getting to where I don't have to hustle as much to draw the folks here. Like I did jobs for baseball teams because it's the end of baseball season here, and the baseball teams have been hitting me up for like trophies, awards, engraving bats, engraving gloves, engraving everything. So
that's what's cool. For comparison's sake,
you get the smaller one, don't you?
Yeah. This is a 5x8, and my minivan pulls it fairly well. But there's some things to consider there. Your towing vehicle is going to depend on how big.
He's got a Jeep, but he may have something else too.
So your towing vehicle is going to show, give you some limitations as to what you can pull. And of course your budget, if you can go bigger, I would, but also keep in mind, so in these lighter trailers, like the 5x8s and even some of the single axle 6x10s, they have a weight rating, and their suspension is kind of geared for that. And if you don't load it down with enough stuff, that thing is going to bounce around behind you. And depending on what you have in there, especially equipment, it could take a bit of a beating. And so that's where, if you can get into a dual axle trailer a little bit bigger, it inherently is going to have better, smoother ride, better suspension. Also might have a little taller height. I mean, there's no way I can stand up in mine.
You couldn't stand up in mine.
It's a slide in and out kind of thing. They are very handy for that. I mean, mine has been used more for when I was doing the model aviation events. So I'd load up a bunch of totes and slide those in underneath with all my product and such. And I'd have my tables kind of on the bottom. And then I had a shelf in there where I could load, some of the airplanes and some of the other stuff. And, by loading it down right and, just knowing a few roads to avoid, it rode pretty well. But do keep in mind that if you don't load it down enough and you have one of those smaller single axle trailers, they can get pretty bouncy, and that can cause a bit of a headache. This one has a torsion axle on it too, Tracy. Yeah, those definitely tend to ride better. You can also, if you want to sacrifice a little bit of wear on the tires, you can air the tires down a little bit. They're gonna wear harder, but you might have less damage to your stuff when you get there. So
I got the dual axle because dual axles inherently are going to be heavier, but they pull better, like because you got 4 wheels on the ground instead of 2.
Yeah.
And in the event that you have a catastrophic sudden failure of a tire, 4 wheels is better than 2. And so that's why I went ahead. I had a F-150 when I bought the trailer, and it doesn't have a problem pulling it because most of the stuff I've got in there is not that heavy. The trailer's the heaviest part of the whole operation. But yeah, your vehicle is definitely going to depend. And if you're pulling it with the Jeep, you don't want to go too heavy because Jeeps are made to crawl and pull their own weight. They're not really, their suspension is not really geared.
Yeah. And no, I used to have a Jeep Wrangler, and they never used to recommend you tow much of anything with them, mostly because of the short wheelbase. Now they have the 4-door ones, a little more extended. They're a little bit better, but you get a heavy trailer pushing you down a hill, and that can get hairy in a hurry. So, and I never like to be at, if I have a 3,500 pound, which is basically the same rating as my van, I like to keep it around 2,000 pounds. I don't like to push that weight limit for towing, but they are very handy. But just also keep in mind the storage of the trailer, the maintenance of the trailer, the security of the trailer. Depending on where you're at, you're going to want to look into, making sure you can lock things up and make sure someone doesn't run off with your nice trailer and a bunch of stuff in there that you're going to lose. So,
yeah, they are handy to have, but you do need to, you don't want to get too much trailer for your vehicle, because that could be bad.
Radu has a question, and I believe you emailed this to me as well. I just have been kind of busy, but asking about spray paint and plywood. Said Rust-Oleum 2-time bubbled will sand, bare, airbrush, water-based acrylic. What's good clear coat to finish? Matte preferably. So when doing, whether it's multi-layers, like if you're doing different colors and layering up the paint, or if you're top coating spray paint, you definitely want to pay attention to try to stick within the same brand and type of paint, because the various propellants and other things. The other thing also, the cure time. When they say recoat within this period or after so much period, if you get it in between those two, there's often some of this off-gassing and other things where it's going to do that. And so try to stick with the same brand of, like, if layers of paints, or if you're using Rust-Oleum 2X spray paint and you want to clear coat it, I would get their clear coat of the same variety. Because you can have some bad interactions between the different types of paint, the different brands of paint with their propellants and different things like that. But as far as using an airbrush, I would, if you're using airbrush acrylics, I would look at, you can get polyacrylic in a can, and you can spray that on as a top coat. And so it's all water cleanup. It's all basically acrylic based, and that would be your best bet for match. And they do have that in a variety of different sheens, from a flat matte on up to a gloss. And then I think they even have some that, because it doesn't generally yellow on its own, but I think they have some that might even have like hints of, like, if you need a warmer tone for some reason, I think you can get different.
With the polyacrylic.
Well, with the polyacrylic, I think they have like a warm tone as well, possibly.
Yeah, I get all the different varieties usually if I ain't out of it. Well, I'm down pretty low. Yeah, I'm down kind of low. They have a warm, I think it's called warm satin. I think that's the one that you're talking about. But I got the clear satin and the clear gloss that I've got. I need to re-up now that I'm noticing that. I'm about out. But yeah, I use a lot of this, especially on laser projects.
But for him, wanting to use an airbrush, they sell it in a can. So.
Oh, an airbrush?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't use airbrushes. I avoid the cleanup.
Well, and the problem he's running into, though, is with the spray cans, you have the propellant and the accelerants type stuff, and so that's where you sometimes run into these issues of it ruining the lower coats. When you use
well, I will tell you that I've learned the lesson of do not put the fast drying coat on top of the slow drying coat, and if you're going to multi-coat like that, make sure they're all the same, like they're all satin, they're all flat, or they're all gloss. Because the dry times are different. And like you said, you don't want the lower layer to not be dry and the top layer dry, because then it looks like it's got blisters all over it from where the other layers trying to dry at a different speed, and it starts getting messy. But yeah. I've gotten to where I'm using a lot of 2X on my spray painted stuff. I use the 2X clear now. No, like
that. Uboofer is asking, is there a way to do an XCS material test and specify more than one pass? F2 UV tests don't always penetrate the powder coat on tumblers to get reliable settings, so I'd like to increase the passes. That's a good question.
I think you can. When you create the initial shape, I think you have to set the number of passes there, and then when you create the array, it pulls those attributes into the test, I think.
Let me see if I can. Of course, I don't know what version. Let's see here. Material test array. Actually, you're right. You'd want to do it if we...
Your initial shape, you're going to need to set it in multiple passes.
Material test array. I don't... Done. It says mixed. Let me ungroup this and see if it held. Yeah, no. So yeah, if you're right. If you set it up, okay. Let me start over. And let me
share your screen.
Yep. Oh, I got to stop sharing the other one. Get the right one. All right, let's see if this works. All right, so this might be a slightly older version, but hopefully it'll be the same thing. So if you're doing your material test in XCS, you start with your shape. So let's just grab a rectangle here. We'll draw that, and then you want to set up your attributes before you set up your array. So in this case, if you're doing an engrave, you want to change it to an engrave and then change your passes to, say, 2. And then we can come to our material test array, set up your grid. And now you see over here that 2 passes is in there with each of the blocks.
Yeah, that's how you change the LPI and everything also.
Yep.
You have to do it on your initial shape that you're using to catalog the...
Yeah, you got to do all that on the front end. I mean, I even forget to like change it from score to engrave.
Oh gosh, I do that so many times.
Like to me, a score just shouldn't even be a thing. It should just be a low power cut.
Yeah, it should be a line. It should be line and engrave. But I understand they're trying to keep it simple for people. But I'm so used to Lightburn where your options are line or engrave, and I do the same thing.
So anyway, yeah, you can at this point, I mean, you could go in and adjust it on each one if you want to, but then it's a pain. So you always got to do that on the front end when you first drop your shape, your photo in, is set everything up over here to whichever function, and then your lines per centimeter, engraving mode, things like that. The power and the speed is what it'll adjust in the grid at that point. So yeah, we all learned something. I'm pretty sure the reason I know this is because I've done the same thing with DUV on some of the power and speed tests, but I've got to where tumblers with the UV is just not. You can do it, and it does a clean job when you get everything dialed in right. But if the focus is out just a little bit on that, if you get just a little bit of wobble out of your rotary, it's going to mess things up. And the thing is, too, a lot of these tumblers, like I did some Milwaukee tumblers the other day. Did 12 or 16, I can't remember how many it was. 2 of them, every one of them, I did the exact same file. I sent it to the P2, and I just double tapped the button. Every time I load one, I double tapped the button. I changed nothing. 2 of them, 2 of the red ones, actually had little pink lines in them occasionally where it didn't quite get all of the coating off. Now, luckily, I'm probably the only person that'll ever notice it because I'm just so critical of them. But I had to bear down a little extra with my magic eraser to try to get that leveled out. And like I said, I ran the same settings on every one of them I did, and I had 2 out of every one of them that had that happen. And it was just something in the coating, and that was with the CO2 laser. You get to using other lasers, and it's even worse. So, yeah.
That's the variables. And I did 20 something little like glass things that had like it's almost like a mirror, but it wasn't a mirror the other day. And on them 20, I think it was 21 out of 21 of them, 3 of them, like there were places in where the backing was connected to the glass that it tried to like make a little bubble, like it was trying to come loose. But those, like I said, you're at the mercy of your blanks when you start doing that.
Yeah.
That's why I try to get extra. No matter what I'm doing, I try to get extra. Speaking of which, right back. I've got some more school. This is another job for a school. Schools are wearing me out lately. But maple ink pens. Yeah, pretty cool. And wait, there's more. Maple ink pen holders to go with the maple ink pen. Now I just got to figure out, am I going to do them with the laser or am I going to do them with the UV? But yeah, so I got to order for these, and I bought extras so that I can play with them. But yeah, Johnson Plastics Plus. That's where I found these guys at, because I didn't want to do bamboo. I'm like, I don't, I want like real wood, but I don't want to spend $100 on an ink pen either. So I found some blanks at Johnson's that were maple for the holders and maple for the pen. So just got to figure out exactly how we're going to do them. Are we going to UV them or are we going to laser them? Don't know yet. I'm leaning laser.
So Staren's asking, I'm looking at UV lasers for leather. Is the F2 Ultra UV the recommendation for enclosed options? The Lumos Ultra is tempting. You've got the F2 Ultra. What do you think?
I love my F2 Ultra. It's expensive compared to some of the others, but it is very nice, and I like it very much. I've used it on most every Galvo job that's came in here in the past several months. Like it's, I think I did use the F1 on some tumblers one day because it was just convenient. It was like 2 tumblers, but for the most part, the Ultra is my go-to.
Yeah. Split Pickle says, bought a used Monport Onyx, had a bad water pump, so cheap fix, but man, what a headache because there's no room to work. Flushing out old coolant is messy. Yeah, and that's one thing I've tried to mention when we were talking about, even things like the Polar Light and some of these other, even the P2 or even the P3 from X-Tool, these kind of all-in-one machines. It's nice that you don't have maybe an air pump and a chiller and all these other things sitting off to the side, but they are crammed into those cases. And so they're harder to work on. They're harder to bypass if you want to upgrade them. It can be a little bit of headache. Depending on, I know like the P3 has a pretty good drain point. I think the IKEA Master has a good drain point, but some of them, and the Polar Plus, you got to look for it, but you being able to drain that water out, it's a little bit of a, can be a little bit of a trick. So, so just keep that in mind with the all-in-ones. Is while they are convenient for that, it can be kind of tight to even the air pump replacement, or not replacement, with the bypass I did on the Reno was a little tight in there. So
yeah, and there's going to be lots of hot glue in most of them. It seems like every time I go take one apart, everything's hot glued.
Well, and for good reason, because it's not common, but I've had a few lasers come in that they're pre-assembled, but you turn it on and you get that grinding noise, and it's one of two things. It's a mechanical issue, or one of the phases on the steppers is out, and you got to start checking the wiring. So
I can't say nothing, because every one of them I've taken apart. When I put it back together, I hot glue it back just to make sure it doesn't pop out. Now, sometimes I'm a little more strategic with my hot glue. overkill it.
Yeah. Yep. But hopefully you get that working. And hopefully it's not too much of a pain.
Yeah. Chris Gallagher says, Dave, they probably heard you say you prefer not to get prototypes, and that's why you missed out earlier. And it could be. And if that's the case, I am thankful, because I got a prototype sitting. Well, they said it wasn't a prototype, because I told them I didn't take prototypes, and they assured me it wasn't. But then when it showed up, it kind of acted like a prototype. But it's over there on hand trucks right now, getting ready to go out to FedEx tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because it didn't work. It was sitting right here, and it was yellow and black, but it didn't work. And so I called them, and I'm like, hey, it was not in our arrangement that I was going to fix your machine. So what are we doing? And so they're sending me a label.
Jumping back to the trailer topics, Tracy Bachman says, fold down door ramp is the only way to go.
Yes.
And it depends.
I like it. I've had to have my knee put back together, and it's a lot better than stepping in and out of that trailer.
Well, but depending on where you end up parking it, sometimes that fold down thing gets in the way. And for certain things, I mean, they can become really slippery as well. So if you're moving larger things in and out, yes. But if you're in some of the smaller trailers, I would argue that they're not. They actually get in the way, and if you can't stand in the trailer, a ramp is not the way to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you can't stand up in it, yeah, I mean, you're not going to be going in and out of it that much anyway.
But I mean, I've seen it both ways, and some of this is coming from experience of being at model airplane events when you typically are out on the grass. Those ramps get slippery.
Now mine has kind of the best of both worlds, though, because I have a side door that's a step through. So with mine, I can let the ramp down if I need to get something big out. If I'm just going in to grab some blanks, I got like the little RV door that I can go in.
Well, I would back mine right up to my tent, and it would fit in that 10 by 10 area. And then I'm just grabbing in and out
and letting me have extra room so I can.
So I mean, it really depends on your use and what you're looking at. So
yeah. I do like my ramp, though. It is nice. And the reason that I do is because a lot of my stuff rolls. And if I go somewhere where there's a sidewalk, I'll back up just far enough to where that ramp lays down on the sidewalk, and I don't have to worry about stepping up and down as I'm going in and out. So it has its advantages. But yeah. But now, Mike said mine is a larger trailer too. So
yeah, Norbert, it's minivan approved. I actually bought that one when I had a Suburban. I bought it from a guy. I got a really good deal from a guy who was upgrading. And I'll tell you, it depends on your market. A lot of times trailers hold their value until they're just that shot. And so you can shop for used ones, but you may find you don't save a whole lot of money, and you might inherit someone else's problems. But
you get one that rains inside it.
Yeah. Well, and I bought it from a guy who really took good care of it. He and his wife were just upgrading, and they had bought it with a torsion axle, with the epoxy impregnated floor, all these good things. Funny thing is that I was meeting him about an hour away, and I think it was like Easter weekend or something like that. It was Saturday afternoon. Banks were closed, and I had to try to find a way to, I think it was like $1,200 in cash that I needed to get for this guy. And so I'm using like my debit card, my wife's debit card, trying to see what the limit was. And so I had all these 20s. I go over there, look at the trailer, say, hey, it's in great shape, looks great. I'm not even going to haggle with you on the price. I counted it out. They counted it out. And then like a week later, I get a note in the mail from them saying, hey, we brought it home, counted out a third time. There was an extra 20 in it here. So they sent it back to me. So I lucked out with some good people and a quality trailer. But yeah, I think I could actually sell it more now than what I paid for it. I've had it that long and it's still in pretty good shape. So
yeah.
And I used to park it in here in the winter.
Well, here's let's see. this is kind of when I get lucky and I get one of those events to where I got room. That's kind of how I like to. I like to keep mine close by so that I can go in and out of the door over here. Over to the right side right there. That's where the little step in door is. And I like to try to keep it close when I can. But the way that you do that, hang on, let me see if I can add another one. The way that you do that is, in the past, I have loaned out my buggy for them to use. And so it gets you a little extra flexibility when you're letting them use your stuff for the event. The only stipulation is it has to have a Clack Shack logo on the windshield while they're using it. So let's see, where's another one at there? And this is kind of the inside of it. So that's what it looks like when it's all packed up. That's my little table / power station / lights and all that I built early on. So it works. I enjoy it. I got to get it out. I've got solar panels this year with my Afiri. So I got solar panels that are going to be also implemented into the setup. I got to figure out how that's going to work out. And I'm hoping I can get lucky and get like I did last time. There's this little spot in the park that floods if it rains and nobody wants to set up there. And so that's usually where I wind up leaving my trailer, because I don't care if my trailer's sitting in an inch of water. So if I can get that spot, I can also put my solar panels back there behind me.
Riley was asking that polyacrylic for airbrush, does that need to be thinned? If so, what? It depends on your airbrush. Some of them might find it a little bit thick. Generally, when I'm thinning down acrylics, I actually use the non-ammonia based Windex. It thins it down and helps kind of keep the airbrush a little bit cleaner. And as long as it doesn't have that ammonia in there, it doesn't tend to react with the material. So you just have to do a little bit of playing with the mixture to see where your airbrush likes it. But generally, I don't recall on my latest airbrushes if I've used the polyacrylic in it or not, and if I had to thin it down. But oftentimes I do, and I just, like I say, non-ammonia based Windex is generally what I use for thinning acrylics. There was News fans asking, when engraving a tapered tumbler on a chuck, where should you measure circumference or diameter? Have you done a lot of the tapered ones versus the?
Yeah, a lot of them are tapered. What I typically do, because whether you measure up high or whether you measure down low, unless you have some kind of software that is making all of those mathematical adjustments for you, it's going to be off one way or the other. So what I typically do is if the top part is like 88, which is a common number with these tumblers is 88, and like the bottom is 85, I'll go with like halfway in between. I'll go with like 86 and a half, 87. You see what I'm saying? I'll just kind of split the difference. That way the top's going to be a little skewed one way and the bottom will be a little skewed the other way. But typically speaking, most people aren't going to notice it because it's really hard. Like round things, if you put a perfect circle on a tumbler, it's going to look squished just because of the way the tumbler is shaped and the way that the image is actually wrapped around the tumbler. So typically, if you want to avoid that, you're going to do like a 8 to 10% increase in your x-axis. As far as if you're looking at the tumbler, you want to stretch it wider, like 8 to 10%, to avoid that optical appearance. You're actually making it not perfectly round, but it will appear round because of the contour. But I usually just try to get in the middle. If there's a taper and I can't do anything about it, I'll measure the circumference in the middle. But the most important thing is when you're setting it up, you want to try to set it up to where the engraving surface is flat as opposed to having it, if it's tapered, you know, it's going to be like part of it's going to be going down. So that's why I like the chucks that have the adjustment, so you can kind of skew it to make sure that the surface is flat. And so when the laser is going back and forth, a full rotation up here is technically still a full rotation here, but you're going to get a little bit more, I guess, a tiny fraction amount, probably not even noticeable. You're going to get a little bit more overlap towards the bottom because just the way that it rotates. But I've never had anybody go, oh my gosh, you know, nobody's ever noticed. If it's bad enough, I can notice it a lot of times, but I've never had, even people that do laser engraving that have looked at them, they've never pointed it out and said, hey, that's 0.23 millimeters narrower on the bottom than it is up top, you know. So I would split the difference if it's really bad. If it's not much, you're probably not going to notice it. Practice with like solo cups and stuff. You know, take you some painter's tape and put on a solo cup. Just practice with different things that are shaped differently, and you'll kind of get a feel for it. You can go to like buy these plastic, depending on what kind of laser it is. You can get a plastic cup and you can play around with it with painter's tape on it, or you can get, I think Solo even makes aluminum cups now that you can buy. Those are pretty cool. But I do a lot with painter's tape. Like, let me show you. Scaring cats. I got tumblers everywhere. Like, see, these have a taper to them. These Hassel outfitters that I get, if you look right there, up here at the top is a different diameter than at the bottom. But if you set this up, if you set it up like this, it's going to create issues with the focus. You've got to make sure you level it out when you're engraving it. But I really, if my engrave is going to go from here to here, I'll measure like right here in between those two, and that's the diameter that I'll go with. I'll just kind of split the difference. And see, these are tapered as well, ever so slightly. Most all of them that I do are tapered. And you can see where I was doing some rotary testing with this one. That's why it's got those lines all the way around it. What I do is I make a box that's as long as the wrap should be and just run it. But I use painter's tape a lot. So never throw these away. They're good. You can painter's tape them up and use them. But that's how I do it. What do we got?
Well, Split Pickle's asking, are there any self-adhesive leather patches you'd recommend for laser engraving that could attach well to guitar cases, either plastic or faux leather cases? If not, any recommendations for a glue?
That glue that's got your name all over it.
Well, the Lone Star adhesive leather sticks pretty well to most things, and so unless your faux leather is really, I don't know, really soft, I think you'd have pretty good luck with either plastic or the faux leather ones, as long as you kind of clean it well and get it stuck down. Maybe apply a little bit of heat just to activate that a little bit. There are some fabric glues that are heat activated that you can try with regular leather or any of the I've showed it in the past. You basically smear it on the back of the one side. Yeah, there you go. Leathercraft cement is one like that. There's another one that's more like fabric based, but then you heat them up and then that activates the adhesive. You just got to be careful with those that you don't get the squeeze out around the edges. So
Yeah, I don't like with that Phoebings or whatever. I try to stay away from the edges as best I can. Which the ones that I've been doing, the real leather ones, I actually sew them on myself anyway. So. Willem69 said, "Can you both sell some of your baseball items and airplane items?" I got videos, a lot of different videos, and I got pictures on my Facebook page and my website of a lot of different things that I do. I mean, I got some baseballs and some gloves, but like I think I got maybe like a couple of the things. I can't get to the home plates over there. I do all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Where's my website?
I do a number of these like profile or straight on ones that they're kind of fun. You can cut this out. I've even 3D printed some of these as well. So just whatever your laser can handle and cut the profiles. But what really got me into this was actually creating model airplane kits from balsa and plywood such. And I don't have anything here that could demonstrate that very well, but.
Well, I do have this over here. I do have a ball bag tag. I don't do a whole lot. I do made to order stuff, so I don't have like a bunch of stuff sitting around. Like I don't. I just don't do that. This is a prototype that I made for a ball bag out of clear acrylic, and I buy these little. This is a cable, but it's got like it screws together right here. So they work. These little things work good for acrylics, for ball tags, luggage tags. They also work for diaper bags, whatever you can come up with. These little cables work really well for that, and they'll do a pretty good job too for like keys, especially like if somebody wants something to put on their key ring that's not like a ring per se. But yeah, you can make stuff like this: diaper bags, backpacks, back school bags, whatever. Like the other day, I did a bunch of numbers for the baseball team. I've got some what do they call it? Championship ring holders that I make on the CNC. It's basically a oak home plate that's got a wooden dowel in the middle of it. And like that's literally all it is. It's a piece of oak that I make a home plate out of. I run a round over bit on it, laser engrave the kid's name on there, whatever, maybe the logo of the team that they're playing with. And then it has like a 10 millimeter or so, like a half-inch dowel that sticks up maybe a foot, and they just drop their rings on that thing and set it on the counter. I've got some pictures of it also. I do baseball. Well, I hadn't done any baseball bats yet this year. I've done baseball bats before. I've also do gloves and balls. I do have the gloves and the balls. This is my test glove, and this is where when you get a job, you got to be willing to spend some money, because this is a test glove that I bought because I had somebody wanting to know what I could do to a baseball glove. And so I they even had the tag took off of it. So I bought this thing at Walmart and just ran tests all over it. Also, this is some leftover balls that I did because I needed so many, but I always buy extra. And so it also comes in handy when you're doing videos. You can practice with them and do different things. But there's some new ones in here too that haven't been marked. So just hang on to those. What if that glove I fit in here with them? Nope. But like I said, hang on. Let me go move this machine out of the way. Go ahead and set this over to the side. This is getting shipped out tomorrow. All right, so these are some birch blanks, plywood birch blanks that I do. Spray paint that with some 2X white Krylon, and you can either like laser it, you can etch it and do like acrylic inserts, paint it, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I got those. This is one of the ring holder blanks that I've because I'll usually set up like a piece of material and do like 10 out of it or whatever. And so this is one of the ring holders, but of course it doesn't have the dowel in it, but the dowel would just sit in that hole. And then you'd have it engraved like right in here or whatever with the kids' information. And then you can stain it, seal it, whatever you want to do to it, and rock on. But yeah, that's just some of the stuff. I do a lot of stuff with sports family people because I'm gonna tell y'all, the people that will spend crazy amounts of money on an award are these travel ball youth league people. They don't mind spending money. Just FYI. But yeah, there's countless other things in here, but I'm not digging them all out right now.
Norbert's asking, how similar are the Monport and Ohmtech 80-watt lasers and parts? I heard they have a lot of similar parts in them that are swappable. And that's fairly accurate. It definitely depends on what model and such, but they're kind of their base models tend to be very similar. In some cases, you can find generic versions of each, and or you can see signs that they were basically made to order and painted their colors and such. But a lot of times they have a Ruida controller, a fairly standard power supply in there, fairly standard steppers. You can often interchange things like your limit switches and such. The belts are usually a pretty standard size. So yeah, generally speaking, it's not as you're not necessarily stuck going back to them for parts versus being able to source them elsewhere. So there can be oddities to it, that things that they may have spec'd specifically for them, but generally those are reserved for their higher end lasers. So you're probably going to be able to find most of those parts eBay, Amazon, some of the local the names are escaping me right now, but you'll be able to find a lot of parts out there, not necessarily from the manufacturer.
Cloud-Ray.
There you go, Cloud-Ray. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, they make a lot of generic stuff. That's what I was thinking about when you said it, because I think I put a Cloud-Ray air assist on my K40 I had, or M40 I
had. Sanders laser engraving is the other option I'm considering is a van. Any thought on that versus a trailer we discussed earlier? I mean, it depends. I mean, what type of van you're looking at. You know, if you're in the budget for one of those like panel van type things, they're really nice in what you can put in them and haul, and it's all contained into one vehicle. You're not worrying about backing up and loading and storing a trailer. But the van lifers have also driven the costs of a lot of those vans up a bit. So yeah. Now, as far as a family vehicle, like a minivan, I've talked about this in the past. It's a very nice hybrid vehicle. It's got a lot of storage on the inside. I've actually built a shelf that fits into mine where the two front or two middle seats can still fold up and be usable, but I can kind of double layer things and haul things to events that way. So it's definitely an option to consider. But if it's a vehicle that you need to still use day in and day out, you're not necessarily getting the benefit of it being loaded up and ready to go. But if it's a secondary vehicle that you're buying just for your business, it'd be something to consider if you can find the right deal. But now you also have vehicle maintenance costs, maybe more, depending on how they tax and register trailers versus vans and insurance and other things. You might be adding extra costs to that might not be, might outweigh any extra benefits from it.
And it's going to depend on how often you need it too, as far as how often you use it.
Yeah. Mike's asking, hey, Steve, have you tried 3D printing an RC plane yet? I've printed parts, and I had a friend a number of years ago actually print out a full airplane, and he said, I'm going to crash this thing. Why don't you fly it? It'll have a better chance of flying. And it did successfully fly. I think I have the files for Piper Cub that it likes that I forget, there's like that lightweight PLA or something else. There's a special extrusion that's actually good for printing RC airplanes, the flyable ones. So, but I haven't printed out a full one myself. I think I purchased the files for even like a bigger B25, but I don't think I'll ever fully print that one out. I kind of wanted that one for some of the accessories and just to kind of look at the files and such. That's why I got that.
This one, I'm gonna let you have this one because I know you want this one. It says, hi guys, sorry I'm late. Can a MOPA do color on slate? Gray's a color.
It can do shades. So and you can, if you overheat slate, you'll turn it molten and it'll turn almost like a yellowish brown. So can you? Sure. But no, it's not going to be doing like all the reds and the greens and the blues and whatnot like you get out of stainless steel, because that's a component of annealing the stainless steel to a temperature where it turns that color. Whereas MOPAs or on slate, you're just etching the rock, and so you're going to get some whites, you're going to get some grays, you might get, like I say, some yellows or browns depending on temperatures. But by the time you get those colors, you're boiling the rock.
Yeah, you're getting really hot. Yeah, it makes it goes from a gray with a faster speed, lower power. You go from like gray to a gray white to like kind of a darker gray to gold or yellow or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and it turns it to sand, basically, is what it looks like it does to it. But and I just knew you were a fan of color engraving anyway. So
yeah. Jeffrey Stone's asking, have either of you attached acrylic to stainless steel tumblers? Nope.
No, that seems very difficult though.
Well, I mean, you'd first have to form it to the tumbler before you would
have like a tumbler press.
Yeah, you'd have to heat it up and then kind of like form it on there.
The correct position before you formed it that'd be challenging. Yeah, that's not something I'm doing.
Do I have any of that out here? Let me see. So there's a type of epoxy called methyl methacrylate, and it's something that you want to wear a respirator on or have good ventilation. But it's a two-part epoxy kind of thing that you mix up, and it is really good for bonding plastics to metals, or
you'd have a glue.
Metals to wood or plastics to wood. But it's not clear. So if you're using like a clear acrylic kind of thing, it's going to be tough. But that, I mean, as far as actually making the physical joint, that would probably be what I use. But no, I haven't attempted anything like that before. So
we're going to come up with a game called Glue It Together. we're gonna give Steve like pieces of stuff and just be like, Steve, glue it together, and he's gonna have a glue in his shop to glue whatever it is together.
Well, to some degree, if it's something I've run into before, and that's the thing is with model airplane stuff, you run into that a lot where you're trying to adhere different types of materials together, and you need them to not fall apart.
Yeah, the only time I've ever done plastic and metal, now that I think about it, is I was making a case one time for a GPS tracker, and I used rare earth magnets and a plastic, like little, like a fishing tackle box that was waterproof. And I had to use epoxy to glue the magnets to the little fishing box. So, but I don't remember what kind of epoxy it was. And that was a long time ago.
Jared Lyon said, Clark, last week I complained about Eufy and getting too much ink with short expiry date. This week I got $1,000+ order, and every time I show tumblers, more want them. Yeah, I think this is a good point too, is there's a lot of people are worried about getting the ink that has a short shelf life at this point because the printers have been delayed and the ink was prepared. And I've heard conflicting things about how they're supporting it. A lot of people have been reaching out to them and kind of getting different answers on it. I believe Eufy's stance on it is, for now, use the ink. But if you run into it getting expired before you are able to use it up, at that point when it truly expires, they'll work with you on it. And I think what a lot of people are going to hopefully find out is that once you start printing, you're going to realize how quickly you may go through that ink, especially if you get some orders. Because I've shown just even some of these casters with, or not casters, coasters, the ceramic coasters with logos on them to businesses that I've done the laser engraved ones for, and they're like, "Oh, I need some of those." And then if you apply that to tumblers and pens and other things, I think you're going to find that if you have the business for it, you're going to be moving through it pretty quick.
Yeah, I've already had a couple of folks express interest in my 250th anniversary grips I did the other day, or something similar to that. Want to know how I did it and all that. So, I mean, once it gets out there, it's going to go. I think that the Eufy, and this is okay, this is just for you guys in the live, so I don't go spreading this around because somebody will beat me to it. I think with the Eufy, the thing too is we all know that one of the high profit, low material cost things out there that a lot of people like to do is earrings with lasers, because you can cut some really fine detail with lasers. But in the past, you've always had to paint, real fine details or whatever, and you were limited to mostly just a flat surface. So with the Eufy, you could add color to those earrings, design to those earrings, and even texture if you wanted to. Like, you could literally make some fish scale textured earrings if you wanted. So I think that's where once you start putting stuff out there, I think it's gonna open up doors. So, and I'll just show you guys. Let me see if I can get it. For those of you that might not have saw it, this is one of my prints that I did the other day. And so far, I've had a bunch of people message me here locally and go, "Hey, what all kinds of those can you print to?" And so that's actually something that folks are looking into now. So yeah, it's getting the machine, coming up with the products and finding the market. That's what counts. That's where you have to get. Yep, David Allen said new channel for Steve. Glue it with Steve.
I have a hard enough time keeping up with this one.
You should just start a "Does It Stick" playlist and just have random glues. Be like, does this glue stick to this? And just, I mean, like literally 3-minute videos. Rob's asking, any word on a riser from Alien Cell? I've heard they're doing one. I don't think it's out yet. I know they released the purifier, the air purifier, because they asked me if I wanted one, and I thought I might. I wouldn't necessarily turn it down, but I felt like it would kind of be wasted on me because I'm not going to use it long term because I vent outside.
I'd like to see their air purifier, because of, if I don't have to vent out from here, or use it in the basement, that'd be great. The AP2 from X-Tool has been working well for me, and it feels like that one's just kind of like a slightly miniaturized one. I think it has like a couple less filter stacks in it or something. But
it's definitely interesting.
The thing with talking about the UV printed earrings and other things is, as a business owner, always think about your risk. Cured UV resin, for occasional touch on skin and whatnot, probably okay. But if you're printing tumblers and you're printing right up to here where it's going to go towards the mouth, that's something I would stay away from. So I would just think about the use of, I definitely wouldn't be printing on like kids' toys and such, but you know, if it's fully cured and it's like occasional touching and whatnot, it's probably okay. But excessive stuff where it might have a chance of ingestion through eye, ears, nose, mouth kind of stuff, just think about your liability. If someone was to start having a reaction or build that up to it and they go, oh, hey, I bought this stuff from that one maker and they had that weird printer. So,
yeah. I didn't show you on my other phone too.
Yeah, split pickle. As a hobbyist, it's kind of a tough thing. This one is nice in the fact that it will go into its moisturizing mode and protect the printer, but that's at a cost of part of the cleaning fluid cartridge and as well as the ink. So the more it ends up having to do that, the higher your ink costs go up because it's wasting it. And so that's something I've tried to, as I've talked with it or showed people, it is like, you know, this isn't the inkjet printer that you use on occasion and it's inexpensive. It's a bit more of an investment, both in the ink has a shelf life. The print head also has a bit of a life itself. That's a wearable item. And if it gets clogged, there's $600 to replace that. So
yeah, there's mine. The white has actually went down significantly more as far as the volumes.
Yeah. Well, white gets used more in a lot of its features and such. And that's the one that, is a bit more of the getting purged. So,
and I've been being, you know, trying to be somewhat frugal with the white and not doing any of the raised layer stuff just to see how far it goes and what all I can do with it. But there's a lot of times too, if you're really wanting to make sure your colors pop, you want to at least put a little bit of white down. Because it does seem to me that some materials will absorb the color, and it'll absorb certain colors more than other colors, and so some of your prints will end up with a little bit of a hue to it, like the color is just a little off, but it's really not. It's just that the material like sucked part of the colors into it or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like using a good primer base on it if you want the true color to come through. So like here's a sticker that's been printed. It has a white base on the back. I ain't got my
sticker thing yet.
So if it didn't have this white backer on it, this would almost be translucent. So it's a balance.
Yeah. But hindsight, I do think they should have made the white like when you buy a set of ink, I think they should have made them proportionate to where, you know, maybe the white's larger than the others because.
Well, they do have the straight color packs, and then they also have the packs that I think are half the clear coat and half the white. So you get like
okay, 3. So you can just buy. Okay, I hadn't looked at that yet.
Yeah, they have a couple different kits, or you can buy the individual ones, and they are still working on their larger carriers. That will by volume will bring it down. Don't know what that looks like yet. I think they want to have those out to testers sometime in Q2, so between now and July. But yeah, I mean, there are cheaper ways to get UV printing done, but that's at the cost of you're buying more of an industrial machine. You're handling open cartons of UV ink, and that's not. I mean, that's a hazard that you got to deal with.
You got to get you a Breaking Bad outfit when you start doing that.
So yeah, there are trade-offs for it that, you know, if you're looking at this machine, you got to understand that you're buying the convenience of it at a cost of higher operating expenses, and for, you know, you can't compare it to the bottle filled industrial UV printer ink costs.
Yeah. Santa saying any new info on the X-Tool UV printer? It has been mentioned in some of my exchanges with X-Tool lately, but that's as far as this went. I mean, I guess it's still on the horizon, but I got a gnat or something in here. But that's all I can tell you. Is this still? I guess it's still a thing. We saw it at CES, and that was in January, and so I'm guessing they're still putting everything together, still working on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got nothing. Yeah. I have no idea. They have not approached me about it. I have not asked them for it. So
yeah,
if it's kind of like, for me with Xtool, it comes in cycles. I don't hear from them for a while, and then all of a sudden they've got some sale they want pushed, and so I'll hear from them on that. And I tell them I'm not your marketing agency.
Yeah, that's the last email I had with them. It was another one of those, hey, will you join our exclusivity club or whatever, the cool kids club or whatever you want to call it, to where, basically they're like, hey, if you'll sign this agreement with us, we'll make sure you get X, Y, and Z, or we'll put you at the top of the list, or whatever the case may be. And I don't want to do it, but they want to kind of leverage, well, we got this UV printer coming out, we could make sure you get one if you, but my whole thing is as much as I like their products, I want to like their products and promote them and show them because I want to, not because they're making me, because they've got me wrapped up in some contract. And I know there's people that are doing it, because they want so many videos and they want you to mention this sale and mention that sale. And that's why you've never noticed me and Steve don't do a whole lot on their sales, is because we're freelancers, legit freelancers. But there are a lot of channels out there that you see, hey, Xtool's having a sale. I just want to drop a video and let you guys know to go check out their sale. And that's not how I operate. I don't really want, although I do appreciate affiliate commissions and I do like them, I don't want to be, pumping them constantly, like begging people to go, hey, please click my links, But yeah, Xtool's been a good company to work with, but here lately they're kind of wanting you to, it's kind of like you join their club to be, to be part of it. And I don't know about that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I seen how much Eufy had to go through to really dial in their product. I know Xtool at one point, I think I wanted to say they said they were going to be starting to ship units by late Q2. I'll be curious if they make that. I mean, they do have a lot of engineering and R&D stuff in house, but
yeah, I mean, they've got the financial backing, but I mean, so did Anchor. So I mean, so it's at the same time, you don't want to throw out a product that's not working. And Xtool has been pretty good about making sure that their products were ready when they release them. So,
well, like you said, I'm kind of, we try to get production machines so that when we're talking about them, people can know this is what they're going to get. And when people have questions or problems with them down the road, we can, if we have the machine on hand, we can say, okay, here's what you're looking at. Here's what you're doing. And so I've really kind of like you, if they start talking about pre-production or prototype, I'm kind of like, and then of course they tie that with like, well, it's when you're going to get your best commissions when it's first announced. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not my motivator, So I've been kind of pushing back on some of the early products and such, because I get tired of trying to run a business, try to work my main job, try to have a family life, and then troubleshoot these machines that are pre-production and beta and whatnot. It's just, it adds to my
yeah. Then when you do finally get yours working and somebody asks you a question about their machine, theirs is totally different than yours, and so your information is not going to be helpful to them because you have a prototype. Yeah. So yeah, that's some of the downside to it. Mark's asking, does joining the Xtool club mean you can't review other companies?
It depends on the agreement.
I was going to say, that's not in what they sent me. It didn't say that, but they do give you so many videos a quarter is what they want you to produce. And once you do that too, that gives them leverage to tell you what your videos are supposed to look like, what your titles are supposed to be, when you start letting other people dictate how you do things, they can bog you down. Like even though they say, okay, we want you to do 16 videos a year that has Xtool in the title or whatever, and we got to approve them and all. They could bog you down to the point where you don't want to make videos for other people because you're just so aggravated. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm scared of. I started doing this because it was fun. I enjoy doing it. I do like making a little extra money, but at the same time, I don't like making extra money if it's not fun. That's why I retired. I mean, when the fun goes away, I lose interest. And so I'm afraid that, if I made the wrong deal, that it would affect my attitude towards what I do, and I wouldn't enjoy it anymore. And I'd want to quit doing it. And I don't want to do that because I really do enjoy the way that I've got everything set up right now. And me and Steve have had hours of conversations about this because it's not the first time. Like I said, this is about the third push that I've had to where they're like, hey, if you'll sign up for this, we'll do these things for you. But my thing is this is if it's a good product, you're going to want to send it to me because you're going to want me to show it rather than the other ones that I have in my shop. So that's always been my approach, you want your stuff here because people know that I'm not going to lie about it. So I don't know. We'll see.
I have talked to some creators, and yeah, sometimes it has been an exclusivity contract. That's a definite no for me. If it was ever approached me, that I haven't been approached with any of these contracts from X2.
They haven't sent me that one.
I don't, I don't have any experience with X-Tool pushing a contract on me, but I know I've talked with other creators where they have, but part of the deal was you will only show our equipment on your channel. And, if that's what they want to do and they want to be a partner with them that way, that's fine. I'm not faulting them for that. But for myself, trying to be a little more education based and being able to speak to, maybe some options based on a person's budget and, their desired outcome or material they're wanting to work with, they might not have that solution, or they might not have the right budget solution for them, or it might not work with the software they're comfortable with. And so by having the freedom of, working with a wider variety of things, I feel it gives me a better viewpoint on, hey, this one does work well for that. This software does work better for that. Or, rather than just, if I'm just telling you brand X is the best, buy that, that's the one you want to get, and I never experience anything else. I mean, how can I honestly say that brand X is the best at that? Yeah. So that's where I try to stay away from, I get like things like NDAs where they're like, hey, you can't say anything about this until this date. That's fine. I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't want your intellectual property stolen or, whatever.
But yeah, the other, when it gets into more of a, here's how you're going to say everything and whatnot, that's where things get cut off pretty quick. So
yeah, and like I said, they haven't like really responded to this last email that I sent yet. I don't guess they have because they just sent it to me a couple days ago, wanting to know if I had considered what they had discussed with me, and I'm like, I thought we'd already had this discussion that yes, I considered it, and I don't like the idea. So, and it's like I said, it's nothing against them. I like their products. They make a decent product. It does a good job. I mean, that's kind of my go-to right now for a lot of things. But as a business, I have certain expectations from myself that I, plan on keeping. So we'll see. Maura says, has anyone had their X-Tool UV laser just quit working? The only problem, and this has just recently started happening with my UV that I've had, is the power button. For some reason, it's gotten to where sometimes it don't want to. Like, you can push it in and it won't catch. Like, it just push it in, it pops right back out. If you hold the button in, it'll power up. So, like the other day, it did it, and it may be because of the dust in here. Like I said, I there are things to consider, but I ended up having to like really, really press it like a lot. It's like real quick, and it caught and it stayed on. I haven't tried turning it back on lately, but that's the only problem I've had with mine is that power button wanting to be a little stubborn. So try holding the power button in. If the light's coming on when you push the power button and it's going right back off, try holding the power button in and see if it boots up that way. If it does, then you may have the same problem. And what I had to do, I just kept bumping mine and it finally came on. And the bad thing is I was set up for a job and I had just went and picked the blanks up and was fixing to run the job when it did that. And I was like, here we go. Because, you know, I done had everything set up, had my jig in there, done my testing, and I'm fixing to run the job and it wouldn't power up. So
a similar issue with my my Rolly MK2.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the power button would, I'd sometimes have to hit it a few times before it would stick and stay on.
Yeah, let me go see if it's doing it now. It might not do it now.
Other than that, I don't have any experience with the X-Tool UV laser other than seeing it at a
power right up. There you go. Like first time I pushed it, it come right on. Now, like I said, it could have been dust. I mean, there's 100 things it could have been, but it just, for whatever reason that day, it wanted to give me a heart attack because I just went and picked the blanks up and I had 2 days to get the job done because it was a job that my buddy Tim up at the trophy shop took in and then realized that his CO2 laser wasn't going to do it. so I ended up doing them. Jerry O'Grady is saying, what would you say the most expensive machine that you got sent to you for free would be? Well, I know what Steve's is because I know what all machines he's got.
Well,
I don't know. I don't exactly for sure. Let's see. How much is the...
I guess it depends on what you consider being free.
Yeah, I mean, free is for review. Because free ain't free.
Well, there are times when free is free, no strings attached. But yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into these. But yeah, probably the P3 from X-Tool.
It looks like it's going to be the F2 from X-Tool for me. It's up there. It's up there close to the top. I don't have a P3, but I can get one. But yeah, I think probably the X-Tool UV because the Com Marker Omni X was a little cheaper, or it is now. But yeah, like I said, but again, there's also machines like this one sitting right over here that I spend 4 or 5 days trying to get to work that I can't get to work that ends up going back in a box and getting this little label slapped on it and they come pick it up. So, you know, there's that. And there's another thing that you have to realize, and this is what I had a couple people the other day asking me about it. I could be like just, I guess, a jackass or whatever you want to call me, and just do the video. And then when people message me and ask me a question, or when they message me with a problem or whatever, I could just like turn off comments or not respond or not reply or whatever. But I know me and Steve both, not only do we answer questions a lot of times, but we've actually managed to help people figure out where they had made a mistake and got their machine going or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of work that ends up coming from it. Like helping other people get their stuff going, which is fun. That's what I do it for, is to help people. But some folks want to do it just for the freebies, as they call it, because, you know, it's nice to get free stuff, but they don't realize that, yeah, I got that machine and it didn't cost me anything to purchase it, but there's probably 1,000 people that have messaged me and asked me questions about how to do this or the best way to do that, or setting focus on this, or, you know, updating firmware on that, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And so X-Tool has basically exported some of their help desk to me and Steve, because they know that people are going to reach out to us because of that connection that they have, as opposed to coming to them. So it's a little bit of a benefit to them too, for us to have the machines and figure them out and help people with them. So.
Well, and that's just the thing I try to make sure they're aware of, because it is is a common comment I get on some of my videos is like, oh, thank you for actually showing me like how to do XYZ, or finally be able to do this, or this finally made sense. Because I'm not producing it as a sales pitch. I'm trying to be educational with it. And so I hope they see that as a value, as Clark was saying, in that, you know, it's one thing for people to want to buy the thing, and it's another thing for them to actually be able to use it and feel good about their purchase, and feel confident about that. And so that's always kind of been my goal with it, is to try to make sure there's you know, explain the what and the how. I actually had a comment just today. Person said, you know, maybe less talking and more showing. Or
and I did a video for that, and they were complaining because I wasn't talking.
And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but I mean, you know, I can show flashy lasers going off, or I can explain to you the what and the why and the how, and then, you know, show you a little bit of the machine in action. But I'm trying to make sure people understand the why and the how, so that they can make the things. So, but yeah, that's like I said, that's a lot of my motivation, and I try to get back to people when they leave comments and email me. I know I missed some of them, but that's where we sometimes catch up on some of them here as well. I invite people to ask them live, because then you get a couple of opinions on it. So
yeah,
but
okay. Did you click one?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jared Lyon was saying, Clack Inventari, I think popular YouTube video would be the UV printer and hat patches, white leatherette, and use print and cut on Lightburn. Yeah, I do want to do more of that, and now that hopefully the ink is in stock, because I may possibly be doing some hats for my airplane club, some personal ones, but then also kind of just show off what you can do with that. So I'm hoping that'll be a video that I can get out. I just need to get the printer primed up and ready, and get that stuff set up to do that. So I hope people would like to see it, you know, because it's nice having videos that do well, that people see and you know, get something out of, and it doesn't just kind of go off into the ether of like, well, I'm glad those 5 people enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but
well, that's the way that cookie rolls, though. Sometimes, you know. What's up there, R. Ballard? He's been over there watching men jump around in tights tonight. So welcome to the show there, Ryan. Hope you enjoyed your Men in Tights show. And I'm not joking. He's been watching Men in Tights. I'm serious.
That's a good movie.
Rob Wilson says, I've noticed that some creators only show Xtool products. Is that indicative of what they want? I own the F2 as my main Xtool machine, and I assume they are exclusive. I don't know that all of them are. I know there's a few that lean heavily Xtool. And when I first started out, I did too, because the first two, and that's a little gnat, the first 2 lasers that I bought were both Xtool machines, and I bought them. And that's all that I had videos on, because that's all the machines I had. So I'm not going to say that all folks that do Xtool videos are exclusive, but you can generally tell. I mean, you know, they're going to get every new machine, and, you know, that's basically all the videos they're going to do is with Xtool machines. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen a list of who all's on the club or whatever, but I kind of know. You know what I mean? You can kind of tell. But like I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's the way that they want to run their stuff, that's fine. Not knocking them. That's just not how I want to do my channel. And that's what a lot of people don't get is they look at the channel and they're like, oh, okay, well, you're just, you know, don't you want to make money, or don't you want to? Yes, I want to make a little bit of money, but my ethics matters more to me than the money. Some people, the money matters more to them than the ethics. I'm the opposite. The money that I make here goes back into the business, and it does afford me certain things and trips and stuff like that. But for the most part, you know, I'm not trying to be the next Bill Gates. I'm not trying to build a dynasty. I'm having fun hanging out with you guys and enjoying what I do, making a little bit of money along the way. Some of these guys, they're doing it for money. They're doing it to support their family, and they're hustling however they need to hustle. And that's, hey, go for it. But that's just not my thing. I'm more about the how I do it over how much money I make, if that makes sense.
We try to find a balance.
Yeah.
And we try to follow up too with project videos and tutorials with the equipment, especially the stuff that, you know, we find really useful, you know, and that's another hint. If you're watching us, the machines that you continue to see us working with are the ones that are kind of probably the ones that are working better for us and we enjoy using. But with that being said, we know that, you know, like not everybody has the budget to go out and buy a 40-watt alien cell dial laser. It's a great, wonderful laser, but that might not be in your budget. And so that's why we try to look at some of the others like the Creality A1 10 and 20 watt, because for some people that's what they can afford. That's what they need. And so it's nice to have some content that shows our impression of it and some ideas how to use it and such. So
yeah, what was it the Epilogue guy told me when I was asking for prices on an Epilogue? If you ain't willing to pay $45,000 for a laser, you ain't really running a laser business. I think is what he told me.
I just
have that attitude, but that's not our attitude.
That's where I just don't engage with them. I go take my pictures, I look at things and go, have a nice day.
Yeah, well, this was on the phone, and I was actually helping my buddy Tim try to find a laser for his business, and he had an Epilogue, and so we were going to get another Epilogue. But when I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of high," that's what what the guy told me. The Epilogue salesperson said, "Well, if you're not willing to pay $45,000 for a laser, you're really not running a laser business." And I'm sitting there, I look at Tim, and Tim looks at me, and I'm like, "Okay, well, you have a good day, sir." And we called Thunder and ordered him a laser. So, but yeah.
Radu said, sorry if I missed a phone call. Speaking of magnets in wood, like for jewelry lids or whatever, what glue or epoxy is good? I prefer to use epoxy. You can use CA, but it's a more brittle joint. Both of them are semi-brittle, but if you get your pocket right and you've got it's kind of snug around the sides and the bottom, it's usually enough to hold it in pretty well. And the thing with the CA is it can set up a little too fast, and if you don't get it quite level, it can mean your box jewelry things don't sit right. Whereas with the epoxy, I'll actually put the magnets in and push them down maybe with some wax paper or something, and I'll clean it off. And they have that, 5-6 minute cure time. Let that cure, and then I might even flip it over, make sure I've got wax paper in between two, and then I can make sure that joint is nice while the glue sets, rather than hoping that I got it right with something faster. PVA glues aren't the best for that. They're not going to grab as well. So like your white glues and your wood glues aren't, I mean, they'll hold to some degree, but they're not the best. So I generally will just stick with just a common 5-6 minute epoxy in that vein.
Rob Wilson says, have you ever get anything done with OhmTech? I have their MF 1624 60 watt, and I love it. I would recommend getting one. Their rotary does leave much to be desired. Rob, I emailed OhmTech a couple of times and actually asked for a price on one of their machines and never got a reply. I don't know. I mean, I literally emailed the same people that I had been talking to that had offered me some other machines, and I asked for a price, not, hey, could you send me one? I said, what is the price for one? Now, I was kind of hoping that maybe they'd go, hey, since you're going to be showing it in videos, we'll let you have it a little cheaper, maybe a little discount or something. But they never replied back. And currently, I'm just making do with what I got. I try to keep my projects that I take in to where I can do them. If I need something bigger, I've got my Glacier 120 watt is over at Klein's shop. And I've got the Asmer X1 120 watt is over at my buddy Billy's shop. So I've got access to bigger machines that I can send those jobs to them to get them done if I need to. But eventually I do want to replace, again, if there's a company out there listening that makes an 850 by 500 or 800 by 450 machine, shoot me an email, because my X40 Max from Atom Stack is starting to lose power. I've mentioned to Adam Stack about taking their 70 watt and making a variant of it that would be 850 wide and 500 deep. And I think that would be an awesome size for an open frame laser that would compete with, the abilities of most of your CO2 machines. But they don't want to work with me on putting it together. So I'm just looking for something. I'm going to either get a CO2 eventually, because I can't keep messing around and waiting until something happens to my X40, because I've got, like I said, I turn out about 6 stove covers a week, and I can't shut that down. Right now I can make it work, but I definitely need to be looking at something different just in case.
Well, if you do go down, I got a module.
Oh, I know where there's one at. And that's why I was telling you the other day, drop that module and the controller in a box and ship it to me. if you ain't gonna use it, because mine's starting to get weaker, and I can tell it. I haven't raised it up to see if I've lost a diode or if it's just, or what's going on with it. I did clean it really well the other day, and it's doing okay. But I'm afraid, as many hours as that thing has on it, I'm afraid it's going to go out, because I run that thing, like, I've read it. I don't know how many hours is on it, but the metal has changed color. Like, you can't clean it. Like, it's the metal is the color of that mess that comes out of the wood, and you can't get it off.
It's got smoker's lung on the frame.
It's bad, dude. It is bad. Like, and the wires have gotten so dried out and brittle that I was afraid. The other day I took the fan off of it and took it apart and cleaned the module. Like, I gutted it, cleaned it, and put it back together. And when I put it back together, I kept getting like an error when I turn it on. It just beep and it shut off. Luckily, all it was the little where the fan plugs into the main board. That little bracket, the corner had chipped off of it. And so for some reason, I was able to plug the fan in backwards. So I took the fan loose, flipped it around, plugged it back in, and it's working fine. But it scared me because it wouldn't come on. And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? What have I done? Because I just knew that I had pulled one of those pins loose, where they get brittle after time. But it's still running. And it actually picked up a couple of millimeters a second in cut velocity after that good thorough cleaning and lens replacement and all that. So,
well, I need to talk with Omtech a little bit. I would kind of like to. My problem right now is I'm not sure I have the room for it, but I would like to get like their 90 watt, like the Pronto 40. I think is kind of like their mid grade CO2. To be able to do some comparisons with that, first off, I'd like to have a larger format Ruida controlled kind of native CO2 laser again.
Yeah.
And be able to do a little more comparisons with some of these kind of all-in-one type things like the P3 and some of the others, just to kind of be able to compare and contrast on a little bit. But yeah, it's I feel like their influencer contacts maybe come and go, and so it might not be the same people, because I think it's a generic email that like a partners at or something. I forget what it is, but it's not like a Bob Smith at Omtech or whatever, So
yeah,
it's hard to say that we're talking with the same people all the time. But
yeah. And I sent the email that I sent was to an email that I had recently been talking with them about some other stuff. And I don't know who it was, or maybe the person quit, maybe their email. I don't know, but I liked my Omtech Polar Plus, but I needed a bigger bed. I need a machine that can handle a 30 and a half wide by 22 and a half deep piece of material. That's what my stove covers are. I make a lot of money every year off stove covers, so I've got to keep doing those. And I also have a party planner that I do cutouts for, which is, I still got that camera. I don't got that camera. Hang on. Which is, and I'll show you. All of those names that you see right there on that wall. Like all of those names on that wall right there. I cut like a bunch of those. Like every week I'll cut out some of those. And those are 800 wide, like 30, as close as I can get them to the work area of the X40. And some weeks I may only do 1 or 2. Some weeks I may do 5 or 6. But I get like $25 for those. And it's like literally it's a 30.5 by 17.5 piece of plywood. So I like doing them. They're pretty easy.
Maui WH is asking maybe a silly question, but if you start doing hat patches, how do you adhere the hot patch to a blank hat? Is it glue? Is it sewn on? So there's a few different options. If you're using just straight leather, you can use that leather glue that Clark was showing earlier, and that is kind of heat activated. But if you use some of the synthetic leathers, like Lone Star adhesive is one of the popular ones, you can get it either with just a plain back, or you can get an adhesive back, and it has a heat activated adhesive on the back of it. And so then you just laser cut it out, you engrave it, and best thing to use is then get a hat press. Viver's got an expensive one that works okay to get started with it. You can definitely spend a ton of money on a full automation, locking, unlocking, heat, whatever, heat platens top and bottom, whatnot. But I lucked out when I found mine. They had like a sale on it I think I spent like $70 on it. And it works okay for small batches that I do. So, but
there's my hat press on that shelf up there.
But Lone Star adhesives is kind of one of the more popular ones that you'll probably see out there. There are cheaper ones you can find, kind of generic leatherette on Amazon and Etsy and eBay. But I've had that where some of them are thicker and thinner, some of them are like a felt back versus the adhesive, and so if you're doing it for a job, I would get something very consistent in quality, like from Lone Star, so that you kind of know what to expect, and you have kind of someone that's going to back you up that the product's going to be consistent and good for you. So,
yep. See ya, Santa. I see where Santa said he's got to go.
Yeah, we are rolling right over 2 hours now. So,
yep.
Kind of last call for questions.
Oh, yep. I'm about to turn into a pumpkin over here.
I mean, you dress like one every day.
Well, you know how it is. Hey, what do you think about my little? I've been playing around with some multicolored stuff on my new printer. Woo, that's right. It's like a poker chip, but it ain't.
Yeah. Rob Wilson comments, OwnTech likes to have their customers do showrooms, expo at the owner's house. I work out of a spare room in my house as much as I would like to. No. Yeah, I've done that in the past with, like with Stepcraft way back in the day when they were just getting started here in the U.S. A friend of mine actually was helping spin that up, and he asked if I could help them out with things and asked if some customers could come over. And it depends on your setup and where you're at, whether you're comfortable with that. Yeah, it's obviously a nice option for them to say, hey, here's someone local to go see them. But some of those, I know X-Tool also has a similar setup. You got to be careful that you're not spending a lot of your time for no benefit, and you're inviting someone into your space, and it's going to take your time, and you don't know who they are. They could be scoping you out to come back with a crew, clean you out. But
we can only hope.
Someday.
Yeah. Jackson, it's a maker coin. Yeah, it's I guess it's kind of like one of those little gimmies. What I'm thinking about is when I go to my next event, I'm thinking seriously about taking the A1 and setting it up and just having it print those while we're there, and just basically be a magnet, like an attention magnet, because people just are like, oh, what's he making? And they're going to walk over. So I'm kind of leaning that way. And that's why I did it to where it only uses 2 colors. And it basically prints white up to a certain point, which that's not the last one I did. This is, let's see, is this the last one I did? Yeah, I think this is the last one I did. So it prints white up to a black up to a certain point. Then it prints white. Then it goes back to black. So it's not a lot of like changes. So I don't know. We're going to see. We'll see how that goes. You never know what might come out of it. Yeah, Rob, they let's just say you don't do much of that around here. They I try to stay on top of security measures and security matters around here. So, but yeah, like I said, the OMTech machines. Somebody was saying the OMTech machines. I've been leaning towards OMTech. I'd like to have a Thunder, and I've been kind of looking at some of the Aeons, and I'm not against those, but I don't know that I've seen enough footage of them actually running Aeon, whatever they call them. And the Thunders. Those both seem to be good, like not an epilogue, but commercially capable machines. OMTech, I think, is running a good close race, but a little more budget friendly. So I right now I'm on an OMTech budget, but I got like Thunder Dreams. So that's where I'm at right now. So I don't know what I'm going to end up doing. And I got to get some space first because, like, now that I've got this Eufy, that was where I had planned on putting a CO2. And now that I've got the Eufy, it's kind of setting exactly where I wanted to be. Rob Wilson says, Thunder. Dave, remember you are retired. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know.
Paul, I picked up. Sorry, I picked up a Prusa i3 MK3. Would it be worth it to get started on, or should I invest in a bamboo assembler printer? The Prusa is actually pretty good, and their slicers very similar, and they have a quality machine. So I mean, if you've got it, run it, and roll with it. We recommend bamboo printers because they are simple and easy. They do a good job of helping people have quick wins. Prusa is a quality machine too. They really back their stuff up. Like kind of before bamboo really exploded on the scene, they were kind of meant, felt like they were kind of like the Cadillac of 3D printers. And bamboo is just really kind of giving them a run for their money now too. So I would roll with what you got for now, and until you find a reason that it's not working for you or you want some different features, then maybe look at something else. But that's a perfectly fine printer. I've got a friend who has a couple of them and really enjoys it.
Yep. Well, Rob, yeah, I am retired, but the business, like I said, all that money comes out of the business, not out of the house budget. So. Yeah, JR, I've considered trying to just make my own laser using some of the stuff that's sitting around here. And yes, that is possible to do that. But as sure as I do, people are going to be like, hey, I need one of those. Where'd you get it? You know what I mean? And I'm not wanting to start like a laser building business here in my shop. So I would rather have something that other people have or can get, so that if they want to like kind of piggyback off of what I've done and what I've learned, they can. And that's why I don't have like DIY stuff everywhere necessarily. Now I may tweak it. I may make it a little bit better. I may come up with, certain different things, but
you do look like a tweaker.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of those around here, but it is still something that I want to be able to, like I said, have something that other people can get as well. But I've thought about it. Don't get me wrong. I've considered it because I've got access to almost enough parts other than some extrusions and some wire. I could make it work because I've got some machines that I could, use. But we'll see.
Yep.
D6 Lax needs a X2D to add to collection. I got what I feel like I needed. I try not to overspend if I can help it. Now, if I'd have known that new machine was coming out and it was only going to be $100 more, I probably would have had to ponder that a little more to see if it was going to benefit me. But this machine's been out for a while. It's stable. I think I'm good with it. So, David Pingle, not anytime soon. Not as much as I would love to. I'm gonna have to put it off for a little while. I may or may not be able to build another like storage building and move some stuff into storage and get it out of here, like some of the tools that I don't use every day. But for right now, we're gonna be rocking out of here. I'm just getting rid of stuff, making more room. Quit being such a pack rat. That's the problem. Is you get so much stuff. It's like just be a pack rat. All right. Well, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes. So we're 10 minutes over.
Yep.
You guys got any hot questions that can't wait? Better throw them out there now because we're fixing to sign off of here. I may try to do a little pop-up or something this week and play with the Eufy and just like do random things. I don't know. I got to figure out what I'm going to do this week because I've got some stove covers, of course. The good news is as of right now, I've only got 5 on the board that's ordered. And all of those are from the first 2 weeks of April. So I got 5 on the board that I need to get done, but I ain't gonna be in a rush. And I've got my jobs caught up. Like literally, I have 0 jobs in the queue. So I can actually have some fun, do some testing and stuff with the Eufy this week. Because that's part of what's been holding me up for the past couple of weeks, guys, is people finally are getting the word that I'm retired and that I can do stuff that I used to didn't do, and they have been wearing me out, which is good. It's good because, as you may or may not know, YouTube revenue and stuff like that, the first quarter of the year, it kind of tanks a little bit. So it's good to have some products and some jobs to do to offset a little bit of money so I can pay my power bill and for my Streamlabs and StreamYard and everything. That's about it. What you got, Steve? What you gonna be working on this week?
I got a full-time job.
Oh, that sounds like a little bit of soreness there.
Yeah. No, we'll see. I've got a few projects that need design finishing going on, and like I say, if I can spin up the Eufy, I want to do a couple of those things that I've been looking at, maybe get some more content out on that, but still doing more of the shop shuffle stuff. So trying to get things settled there.
Well, maybe everything works out. Maybe you get some springtime up there pretty soon too. Don't forget to plug your other channel, by the way.
Well, I haven't been able to put anything out there, so I'm not.
Well, that's fine. They can go watch the same 2 or 3 videos over and over again. Like use them to go to sleep.
Not much there, so we'll see. Waiting for the weather to get better on that one, and we'll get out. But yeah, it's just been a lot of busy things going on that I haven't been able to put enough time on this channel, let alone the other one. So, but more to come.
Here comes my shameless plug for those of you that have stuck it out with us tonight. If you don't mind, I would appreciate it if you go over to my other channel, The Clecklys. It's a bunch of random stuff. Everything from beekeeping, robot lawnmower, security cameras, just me running my mouth. And then there actually is that one video where I did a lot more working and a lot less talking. So it's just like me just working. So that was just an experiment, a bit of a comeback to some trolls that I had. But I need some watch hours. I'm like really, really close to having that channel monetized, like really close. But I need just a few more hours of watch time. And looking at the number of subscribers, yeah, I know I got like almost 9,000 subscribers over there. But I've been doing a lot of shorts and having fun with it. But the bad thing about doing shorts is you get like 60 seconds of watch time. So it takes a long time to build it up. But I do have a few videos on there, and you can go watch those, or you can just put them on and go to sleep to them. It doesn't matter to me what you do. That's fine. Just watch time is watch time, and I would greatly appreciate any of your time that you're willing to give me, whether you're in the next room doing laundry or what. I don't care. It's just watch hours. I just need them. That's my shameless plug for the day. And Steve's got one too. If he'll drop a link, you can go check his out. He's just getting that one started, and he's waiting on everything to turn green instead of gray so that he can do more videos.
I mean, it's kind of brown.
Brown. Okay. Well, he's waiting on us to turn green rather than brown. But anyway, yeah, I would appreciate any view time that you guys can give me. So, yeah. I got a playlist on there, Chris. You just go click on the playlist. But like I said, hopefully I'll be there. I want to try to get it monetized this week if I can. I think that is a possibility because I'm like really close. I think I'm down to like 300 hours is about all I got to have. It's 300 hours. And so that's not a lot. I mean, it is, but it ain't like compared to this channel, 300 hours is nothing. But on the other one, though, it is a whole other ball game. So I think if my math is correct, which is probably not, I'm about 200 to 300 hours shy as of right now. So we'll see. Anyway, anything else, Steve?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Next time we show up, guys, we'll see if what kind of new glues Steve has. See, I'll come up with glue-related content for next live. Until the meantime, we're going to see if we can get Steve to start a new playlist called Does It Stick? Later, guys.
We'll see ya.